This is an Excel Academy, and then I'll be taking you through the use of the QuickBook accounting software. And my name is Odibeli Clement, and I believe that you should try as much as possible to avoid distractions so that you can get as much as possible. And you can also have your writing materials beside you. However, we have materials for this particular lecture, and we're also going to have another program after this free program, which is going to be called the paid class, where you have the opportunity to ask as many questions, and your answers will also be given to your questions. We are also going to be conducting exam questions. Certificates will also be given. Handouts, materials will also be given. Multiple choice questions, practice questions will also be given, as well as the software would also be given to you for training and all. Without wasting much of our time, I would like us to listen to the following announcements before we commence the training. Like we said earlier on in the course of the advert, we said it's going to be a practical 2 hours masterclass on QuickBooks. We have various things that we're going to be putting you through on the use of this particular QuickBooks, and would also to try as much as possible to be efficient, and we try as much as possible to come down to your level of understanding. And I also want you to try as much as possible to turn off your audio so that for effective and efficient communication. So let me read the instruction one after the other. The first instruction is going to be all the participants are expected to mute their microphones. This is very, very important because it can hinder efficiency level in terms of communication. And also, whenever any participant has any questions, he or she should make use of the chat box or should ask the questions during the question and answer session, because at the end of all we're going to be doing today, we'll have a question and answer session for that particular purpose. And try as much as possible to shun any distractions around you that might get you carried away from this training, because it's going to be a 2 hours training, and we will try as much as possible to cover as much as we can in the course of this training. So without wasting much of our time, I'll be going to QuickBook. As you can see, we have QuickBooks at I don't know if there's anybody that can see what is on my screen. We have what we call Excel Academy. We have the toolbar, and this is what we refer to as the interface. You don't need to worry too much about it because right now it is a free version. So I'll be using my screen for the purpose of the training and the purpose of the communicating to you guys. So I just want you guys to try as much as possible to listen. So after the free class, then we'll be giving out the software for paid version of the class. So now it's going to be an interactive section, and I hope you guys can also be able to respond as fast as possible. So it's going to be an interactive section. And first of all, I'd like to start by asking a question. Does anybody know the definition or the meaning or the meaning of QuickBooks? I know we've been hearing QuickBooks, we've been hearing Sage, we've been hearing Tally, and the rest of accounting softwares, but what is QuickBooks and what's your understanding about QuickBooks? Because the reason why I'm asking this question is you can be opportune to be working in an organization where you'll be asked questions. Okay, we have different accounting software, because you need to choose the particular accounting software that is peculiar and will suit the nature of your company. You can't just come up and say QuickBooks, you can't just come up and say Sage, you can't just come up and say Tally. You need to know the software that will suit a particular type of business. So I want to start, because without having that knowledge or know-how about what QuickBook is talking about, then obviously you can't even defend yourself when that kind of question is being asked in the course of your interview or in the course where you have a meeting with your MD or your superior. Let me just put you through, because that's the purpose for which you are here. Now, QuickBook, first of all, is okay, someone has responded. Okay, I'm getting good response. Someone said QuickBook is an accounting software used to process bills and payments. That's fantastic. Another person said QuickBooks is an accounting software package owned, developed, and marketed by Intuit. Now that's perfect. That's perfect. That's absolutely correct. You guys are very, very correct. So just like we've been having our normal way of bookkeeping, just like we've been using our normal way of Excel to prepare our management report. So this guy just came together and said, oh, why don't we have a software that will integrate all these accounting principles and that will also integrate all this IFRS standard and all of that and present it to the world in order to make accounting very, very easy. So that's one of the reasons why different accounting softwares we have now, the likes of Sage, the likes of QuickBooks, and the likes of Tally and the rest of it. So QuickBooks is an accounting software, like you all know, that it helps you to process your transaction in a smooth and easy manner in order to present a financial report that shows a true and fair view of your financial activities. One reason why QuickBooks is one of the most recommended accounting software is simply because QuickBooks is a user-friendly accounting software. So how do we mean by user-friendly accounting software? You necessarily don't need to have a strong background, or you necessarily don't need to have a foundational knowledge of the principles guiding accounting, and you will still be able to carry out your financial transaction at ease while using QuickBooks. Meaning that it might be that I got the accounting in school, and then probably I read economics, or probably I read engineering courses or something like that, and I'm still able to use this particular software very easy and very smoothly. That's because it is a user friendly accounting software. Once you have been able to set up and you have been able to establish a chart of accounts, every other thing that you'll be doing is just going to be basically buying and selling. It's going to be basically buying and selling. So I'm also getting responses from other people, which is very nice. Somebody said QuickBooks is an accounting software package for small and medium-sized business. Yeah, that is very, very correct. And that's the reason why some people told me, what's the difference between QuickBooks, what's the difference between QuickBooks and Sage? Now, QuickBooks, like somebody had just said, is used for small and medium-sized businesses, meaning that there's a amount of transaction, volume of transaction that you can do on Sage, but you cannot do on QuickBooks. So that's one of the major difference between QuickBooks and Sage. So another person said QuickBooks is an accounting software and it is user friendly. Yes, that is fantastic. I've said that. Another person said QuickBooks is a user accounting software. Yes, the interruption. So now, like I said, QuickBooks is an accounting software that helps you to process your transaction and in an easy manner in order to present your financial reports. That's what I'm going to communicate at the moment as regards the definition of QuickBooks, so that we can, during the course of the paid class, we will expand sheets more on the definition of QuickBooks. So now, first thing first, this is the interface where you have the vendor. You can see your vendor, you have the customer, and then you have the employees. The reason why these stuffs are being done this way in these different segments, this is the first segment, this is the second one, and this is the last one. The reason is because you cannot sell what you don't have. It means that you need to procure from your vendor before you can now sell to your customer. And finally, it is from the revenue which you have made from your customers that you used to sell to your employees at the end of the day. Now, first of all, when you are starting up, maybe you finish setting up your QuickBooks, the first thing you need to take note of is what we refer to as your chart of account. I would like to ask again, what is your understanding about chart of account? Who can tell us what chart of account is? The reason why I'm saying this is because I've been portrayed on different occasions where I was interviewed and they asked me the definition of chart of account, and there was no way I could not give a good response as regards the chart of account, because it is something that I've been practicing and I've been using for a couple of years. So I didn't even have to go through the internet to even get the definition, because I know that with practice you can even find your theory. So I would like to ask, because definitely if you say you know QuickBooks and you cannot confidently define chart of account, then it automatically means that you cannot convince me that you have good knowledge of the use of this particular software. So who can help us out? What do you understand by chart of account? Someone is saying chart of account is a code for all accounting headings in all accounting software. That is perfect. Somebody said chart of account provides a basis for which financial and accounting system are. So another person said the chart of account is an index of financial accounts in the general ledger of a company. Somebody said chart of account is a code of classification of all transactions of accounts based on principles and policies. Another said chart of accounts is a tool that lists all accounts in the general ledger. Everybody is absolutely correct. Now, I will bust your brain that it is what you know, and everything you guys have defined is very, very correct. But there's a way I define my chart of accounts, and the reason why I had to take my time to come up with this definition is simply because it is very catching in the eyes of whosoever that asks you of this particular word definition. Now, chart of accounts. If you can write as fast as as much as you can write, please write, because it's very key. You only hear this in the paid version of the class. Chart of accounts is the heart of your financial report. First of all, your chart of accounts is the heart of your financial report. I repeat again, your chart of accounts is the heart of your financial report, meaning that it's just like human being now. For every human being, you have a heart. So that means if I take off the heart away from human being, what do you think will become of that human being? Dead. The person is as good as being dead. So it means that if I should remove the chart of accounts from my accounting software, or from my management report, or from my financial report, it means that my financial report, my management report is completely dead. It is useless and it is not useful for decision makers. So it means that at every point in time, you have to have it at the back of your mind that the chart of accounts is the heart of your financial report. This simply means that if your chart of accounts contains errors or omission, it automatically means that your financial report will be misstated by that same errors and omission. For example, if your heart has issues, what do you think would happen to the rest of the body? It will also be affected. So it also means that if your financial report contains error or omission, it means your financial report at the end of the day will be misstated by that same error and omission. And you know what that means? It simply means that you'll be giving wrong information to your users of the financial statement, and they'll be making wrong decisions, and which will have a huge implication in the financial position of the company in the long run. So it means that whatever thing you are doing in your chart of account, you need to be very, very meticulous. And one good thing about this particular QuickBooks software is that it gives you warning. It directs you on how to go about your transactions in your chart of accounts. And I know that somebody is wanting to hear a particular statement as regards chart of account, because I've said it's the heart of the financial report. I've also said that if it's your chart of account is affected by this, it means your financial report will also be affected by this. Now somebody is waiting to hear what he or she must have heard, or what he or she must have known before as regards chart of account. But believe me, chart of account is what you know. Is not different from what you know. Believe me, it's just that over time, accounting experts as our professionals change the name from what you think it used to be to what it is now. Just like you know that before we used to call POL accounts P&L accounts, and later along the line when we grew, we noticed that it was later changed from P&L to POL, because some experts said we cannot have profit and at the same time have loss in a particular accounting period. It's either we are having profit or we are having loss. And as a result, some standard came into being, and they changed it from what we know as POL to income statement. We now you hear something, statement of comprehensive income, a statement of profit or loss, and other comprehensive income. Balance sheet we used to know has been changed from balance sheet we used to know to statement of financial position. They are still meaning the same thing. So just like you have your chart of account, it's still meaning the same thing. What chart of account simply means is that it is your general ledger account. It's a list of all your general ledgers, list of all your individual ledger accounts. Meaning, just like your ledger account, you have the name of the ledger, you have the debit side, you have the credit side, just as you have it, and just as you read it in the past. It's the same way that you are going to see. That's the same way your chart of accounts is talking about. And now, this is the interface. There are multiple ways of locating your chart of accounts, but there is one way that is the most effective and efficient way to locate your chart of accounts using this QuickBooks. And I'll also indulge, I'll also plead with you guys to try as much as possible to write the shortcut into getting into your chart of accounts, because okay, so I'm going to give you different ways of locating your chart of account, because when you have multiple transactions that you want to do, you may not be opportune to see what you are seeing on the screen, and you need to quickly locate your chart of account. So as an accountant, efficiency is very key, because whenever your information is not given at a particular time, that's what we call timeliness. It means that that information is not useful. So the first way for you to locate your chart of account in your QuickBooks is by clicking on your home screen. Now, if you click on your home screen, you can see that my home screen did not change. It means that whenever I click here, I will always see this particular interface. And when I'm in this interface, now for me to locate my chart of account, I have to take my cursor to my right, and this is your chart of account. That is the first way to locate your chart of account. Now, the second way to locate your chart of account is by checking up in these options in your toolbars here. You click on lists, and then this first option you have there is what your chart of account. That is the second way to locate your chart of account. You click on lists, and then the first option is your chart of account. Another way also to locate your chart of account is when you click on your accountant, the second option you are going to have there is your chart of account. The second option you are going to have there is your chart of account. That is the third way to locate your chart of account. And the fourth way to locate your chart of account is by clicking on your company, then you scroll down, you have your chart of account. That is the fourth way. Then the fastest and the easiest way to locate your chart of account is by pressing Control A. The moment you press Control A, then you at every point in time, irrespective of where you are, if you press Control A, it will always take you to your chart of account immediately. Now I'm pressing my Control A, and this is my chart of account. I'll now expand it, and it's showing me what my chart of account. This is your chart of account. So whatever thing you are doing, either you are buying and you are selling, it is automatically communicating and transforming it in your chart of account to be presented to your financial report. So whatever thing you do, first goes to your chart of account, and then the final result is what you will see in your financial report at the end of the day. The final thing you see is your financial report at the end of the day. So I would like to ask if there's anybody that has followed up to this particular point. If there's any questions, please let me know on the chat button. Okay, somebody said I should recap on how to locate the chart of accounts. So I'll just go through. I'll tell you the fastest way is Control A. Control A. If you check your keyboard, you can see a button called CTRL. That is your control button. And if once you press your control button, you also press your A button as well. So once you press your control and your A button at the same time, it locates you to your chart of account. It locates you to your chart of account. You can also go to your home page. Now I've gone to my home page. You can see your chart of account by your extreme right under company. Your chart of account by your extreme right under company. You can also locate your chart of account by clicking on lists. Then the first option is your chart of account. You can also locate your chart of account by clicking on accountant. The second option is your chart of account. Fourthly, you can also locate your chart of account by clicking company, scrolling down. This is your chart of account. Then finally, like I said, which is the fastest way, you can locate your chart of accounts by pressing Control A. Any other question? Yes, somebody is asking, is it possible to delete and add chart of account, or it has been configured automatically on the software? By default, the software is going to give you a list of chart of accounts, a list of chart of accounts, a list of ledger accounts rather. It's going to give you a list of ledger account, but you are not limited to these options. And the purpose for which it's giving you that list is based on the information you must have imputed while creating your company. Is the purpose, or is based on the information that you must have imputed while creating your company. So you can decide to edit it if you want to edit it. You can decide to delete it if you want to delete it. You can decide to create another one when you need to create another one, right? So you can decide to do whatever thing you want to do, but there are constraints. There are constraints when it comes to deleting. When there is a transaction, when a transaction has occurred in a particular ledger account, you cannot delete that ledger account. The software will only permit you to void that ledger account. And you voiding the ledger account simply means that it's not going to appear, or is not going to have any effect in your financial reports at the end of the day. So if that particular ledger account you want to delete has an existing transaction, you cannot delete it, but you can only void it. However, if there is no existing transaction as regards that particular ledger account, the software can permit you to delete that account. Any other question? Okay, so we don't have any other questions, so let me just go straight to the point. Now, all those things I just spoke about, we are also going to narrate it along the line. We are going to talk more about it along the line. So when you locate, you have your, this is your chart of accounts. Then first of all, before you can create, we are going to create a ledger account here. We're also going to edit a ledger account here, and at the same time we are going to delete a ledger account here, so you can see how, so that you can have that knowledge, that understanding of how to navigate in your chart of accounts, right? So first of all, we want to create for bank. Now we don't have bank existing here. Now let me type Zenith Bank. Now Zenith Bank. I have to, before I can create something, I need to first of all click on the search button to check and to see if that particular account is existing. If that account is existing, there may not be a need for us to create another account. You can edit that account as the case may be. However, where that particular account does not exist, then you can go further to create that ledger account. Now I typed in Zenith Bank. Now I noticed that I cannot find Zenith Bank among my chart of account list. So what I need to do is I'll click on the reset button to go back, and then I'll press my Control N. There are two ways to create an account in your chart of accounts. There are two ways to create an account in your chart of accounts. The first way is by pressing Control N in your chart of accounts. The first way to create an account in your chart of accounts is by pressing Control N in your chart of accounts. This page is your chart of accounts. How do I know that I'm in my chart of accounts? If you check here, for everything you do, if you can see my cursor, for everything you do, it will always display here. So if I click on anything, it will tell me the page I am currently in. So now that this is my chart of account, you can see that this is referring towards chart of account. So when you're in your chart of account, the first way and the fastest way to create something that is not existing in your chart of account is by pressing Control N. Control N. Another way, which is the second way to create something new that is not existing in your chart of accounts, is by coming down where you have your account. If you click on the arrow account, you see what we refer to as N, new. The first option there is new. Once you click on new, it takes you to creating your chart of accounts. So the first option is Control N, and the second option is going to account. Now I'm clicking on your first option, which is new. Now, before you can create
an account that is not existing in your chart of account, there are certain questions that you need to ask yourself. We have elements of our financial statement, as we all know. We have the assets, we have the liability, we have the income, we have the equity, we have the expenses and the likes. All those elements, when you come down to the use of QuickBooks, they classify them as what we refer to as account type. If you don't know the account type of what you want to create, it becomes a serious issue for you. So you need to first of all know. Now, for example, I want to create furnitures and fittings, because furnitures and fittings is not existing in my chart of account. How do I go about it? How do I go about it? I'll first of all locate my chart of account by pressing Ctrl A to get this particular phase of my chart of account. The next thing I will do is press Ctrl N. Then I'll now ask myself, furnitures and fitting, where does it fall under? What element does it fall under? Is it an item under income? You ask yourself, is it an item under income? No. Is it an item under expenses? Is it an item under fixed assets? Is it an item under bank? Is it an item under loan? Is it an item under credit card? Is it an item under equity? Now, these are the first options that the software has given to you. Now, you need to first of all find out, does this particular thing I want to create, does it fall under this option? If your answer is no, it does not fall under this option, the software give you option B. What is the option B? The option B is when you click on other account types, it gives you other options where that particular item that you want to create must fall under. So it means that once what you want to create does not fall under income, expenses, fixed assets, bank, loan, credit card, equity, it must fall under the remaining options such as account receivables, other account assets, other current assets, other assets, account payables, other current liabilities, long-term liability, cost of goods sold, other income, and other expenses. Before I proceed, at this particular point, is there any question as regards what I've said? So someone is asking, please, if you can re-explain Control N point. Control N, just like you have in your Excel, Control N means to create new. So if I'm in my Excel sheet, if I'm on a particular Excel and I press Control N, it will open a different Excel for me. If I'm in my Microsoft Word and I press Control N, it will open a different Microsoft Word sheet. I don't know if you understand. So if you are in your chart of account at every point and you press Control N, it means that you want to create for something new. You want to create a ledger account that is not existing in your chart of account. You want to create a ledger account that is not existing in your chart of account. Somebody is asking for, there is going to be a recorded version of this particular class. There's definitely going to be a recorded version for this particular class. So someone is asking, is there anything called uncategorized income or expenses in your chart of accounts? Yes, there's something what we call uncategorized. When you are unable to classify a particular, we will get there and I will explain more as regards that. We'll get there as regards uncategorized income and uncategorized expense. We will get there. So I think that those are the questions I'll be taking so far for now. So let's go back. Like I said, when you are in your chart of accounts, you press your Control N. That is, you only press Control N when you want to create something new that is not existing in your chart of accounts. At the moment you press the Control N, it takes you to this page. The next thing you will now ask yourself is, what this particular ledger account I want to create, where does it fall under? Is it an item of income? Is it an item of expense, fixed assets, bank, loan, credit card, equity? If it does not belong to this option, you can click on your other account types and select as appropriate. Now, for the purpose of this class, I'll be creating for bank. Now, the next question I ask, I want to create for Zenith Bank. I want to have a bank in my chart of accounts where I can be running my day-to-day transactions. Now the next question I'll ask myself, bank, is that an item under income? Is that an item under expense? Is that an item under fixed assets? Is that an item under bank? Is that an item under loan? Is that an item under credit card? Is that an item under equity? Now, Zenith Bank is a bank, so it means that Zenith Bank is an item under bank. So once I'll tick on bank. Once you tick on bank, this other continue button shows. So once you tick on the item that you know that ledger account fall under, the next thing for you to do is to click on the continue button. Now, the first thing that you see, account type, bank. It means that whatever account name I want to give here must be an item under this particular account type called bank. Whatever account name I'm typing here must be an item under this particular account type bank. So I'm going to put Zenith Bank for the purpose of this class. Now, usually it is I don't know if you are familiar with most organizations. I believe most of us are working in one organization or the other. You will find out that most organizations don't operate with a particular bank. And even if they are operating with a particular bank, you will notice that most organizations have more than one account in a particular bank. Now, there may be a need, there will be a way that there might be in the future, your boss can tell you, oh, we don't have sufficient money. Pay 50% from this particular account, pay the remaining balance from this particular account. How do you know? How would you be able to know which account you are expected to debit and which account you are expected to credit if you don't differentiate this particular account information? Now, I'm going to give us a scenario where we have two accounts in Zenith Bank, meaning that we have a savings account and at the same time we also have a current account. So there is a need at every point in time for you to give it a code, and that code is going to be the account number of that particular of that particular account. Now, for example, Zenith Bank, and I'm going to give it the account number is going to be 120306789. Now, at every point in time, when I see 120306789 or the last three digits 789, I should know that it is my savings account. However, if it is something that I cannot easily differentiate, I can just put a dash and put S/A, which means savings account. Now, another thing I want to lay emphasis on is the fact that there is a limited number of alphabets that you can put in the account name. That's the reason why I can't type in savings account, because it will get to a particular point where it will not be typing any longer, because it has reached its maximum number of alphabets it can accommodate at that particular point. So I put Zenith. I'm going to put, now we have Zenith itself, which is, we know that is Zenith Bank. We also have the account number, and we have SA, which means savings account. Savings account. I can come down here where I have my description and put Zenith again. Then I come down here and put where you have a bank account number. I can put the same account number 120306789. Then we have what we call enter opening balance. Now, first of all, I'll be dealing with in the case of a new company. Now, the only point where you are to click on this enter opening balance option is when you are dealing with an existing company. Now, how do I mean an existing company? You might be working in an organization where they might probably be using Pitch3 or probably be using Excel to manage or to run their financial affairs, or to come up with their management report. And then your boss is now telling you, okay, why don't we get a particular accounting software that will make this thing very easy and very fast for us to get at every point in time. And then there's an existing transaction that has been happening before that particular software, and there's a need for you to enter their opening balance. That is only on that condition you click on enter opening balance. But if you are dealing with a company who has not started any financial transaction at all, just like they were incorporated today and they are about to start activities today or maybe at the future date, and then you are now introducing QuickBooks at that particular point, there is no need for you to enter what we refer to as the opening balance. Enter opening balance is talking about existing company, or it's talking about maybe you are creating a particular ledger account that has already been existing in the books of the company. Now, it might be that in the future date, probably, okay, you didn't take into cognizance certain things, or maybe there being a management audited financial report and you want to convert, then you can now click on enter opening balance and enter the balance as at the audited financial statement or as at the last management report that was prepared by the company. I don't know if you understand. So, that is when we are dealing with an existing company. So, for the purpose of this class, we are going to be dealing with new company, and for the purpose of this the next class, which is going to be paid version, we'll explain more on existing company. So now the next thing for us to explain is the aspect of save and close and save and new. When you click on save and new, it means that you are coming back to this particular page where you have the same account type called bank. If I click on save and new, it means I'm coming. That means I want to create another account, maybe Zenith Bank or maybe Access Bank, that the account type is still bank. That means I want to create more than one bank. That is where I click on save and new. But if I click on save and close, it simply means that I'm automatically closing this page entirely. That means I'm done, I'm through with creating for banks. So for the purpose of this class now, I said we are going to create two banks, which is Zenith Bank savings account. We are also going to create Zenith Bank current account. So I'll click on save and new because what I want to create is bank and this account type is already bank. So once I click on save and new, all this information here, account name, description, bank account number will disappear. The only thing that will be left there is going to be this account type called bank. So I'll click on save and new now. You can see now as I clicked on save and new, the account name that we inserted there before as click, and that of the description and also bank account number is no longer there. That simply means that you can see the account type is bank, meaning that what I want to create again is also an item on that bank. So I'll type in Zenith Bank in my account name, give it a particular account number, and then call it current account. Then I can come here and type the same account number, Zenith Bank, for the description, and for the bank account number I can put in the account number. And then now I'm creating for two. So at every point in time when my boss tell me debit this and credit this, then I can see current account, savings account, which means that I can easily differentiate which account I'm to debit and which account I'm to credit. I can easily differentiate which account I'm expected to pay a particular vendor and which account I'm expected to pay a particular receive money from a particular customer, right? So now that I'm through creating these banks, I'm no longer creating any item as regards bank. Then I'll just go and click on save and close. So I click on the no button, and then we have this in our chart of account. You see the first option we have here is the Zenith Bank, which is a current account, and the second option we have here is this Zenith Bank, which is a savings account. So at every point in time, whenever I want to pay my vendor, I can always know where I'm paying this money to that particular vendor. So at this particular junction, I would like to ask, is there any question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, somebody,
How do we get that account type? Like, I didn't know the icon.
okay, the icon for the account type. Someone is asking, how do we get the icon for the account type? Okay, let me create for another thing. For example, in my chart of account, I press Ctrl N. Now, any option you choose here is under account type. It's going to display as your account type. Now, for example, I want to create for let me say I want to create for furnitures and fittings. Let me say furnitures and fittings. So I'll ask myself, furnitures and fittings, where does it fall under? Is there an item under income expenses? I know furniture and fittings is an asset, and obviously I can see fixed assets here. So I'll click on fixed assets and click on the continue button next. So when I click on fixed asset, it gives me this page. So the first option you're going to see on this page is your account type. The first option you are going to see here is your account type. Another way to be efficient, maybe you are creating an item, like you are creating different items. into different elements, into different account type. Just like I've created bank, now I want to now create land and building. So instead of me clicking on save and close, I can still click on save and new and change the account type option to that particular account type element that or under which that ledger account I want to create falls under. I can select it. Now I created for bank. Instead of me, as I clicked on save and when I created for the last bank information, which is the current account, instead of me going to save and close and pressing my control N, I could still press control save and new and just change it from bank to what fixed assets. I don't know if that has answered the question, madam. Okay, now someone is asking, so it means QuickBook is not useful for big companies, as you said, for medium and small. Not really, like it is not used for big companies. There's a volume, there's an amount of transactions that you can do on Sage that you cannot do on QuickBook. It depends. And for the purpose of the paid class, we will throw more light on that, and handout will also be given as regards that. Someone is saying that I can't hear anything. Probably you will need to turn off your data and on it again so that you can get me clearly. I guess it's from your end. The guy is asking, is it from my end? I guess it's from your end. Someone has even replied. Okay, so do we have any question at this particular point, please? Because we are going to another stage, which is another vital stage. So like I said, for every level it has its own technicality, but it will not be technical to you if you listen and you focus very well. It is going to be very simple, and that is the reason why you are subscribing to this particular platform. But when you are now distracted, you might not be able to get these things. And trust me, once you get it, you have gotten it for life. That's the honest truth. You don't need to be thinking over and over and over again. This is practice. You do more of practice. It's not like school where you have to be reading theory. The purpose for this training is a practical class. So once you are able to get these things and you have your writing material beside you to jot as much as you can, although handouts, materials will be given for this class and even for the purpose of the paid class. So I just want you to try and as much as possible to listen. If you listen very well without even writing and you eventually get the material, then it's like even when you forget, it will be very easy for you to locate immediately. So listening, you need to do 80% of listening and 20% of writing. Someone is asking, on creating a new account, please, where do you get the account we clicked on before clicking new? Before clicking new. I didn't really get that question, but what I said initially is that first of all, for you to create in your chart of accounts, you need to press Control A at every point in time. Once you press Control A, it takes you to your chart of accounts where we have our chart of accounts here. And I also said that there are two ways to create a particular ledger account in your chart of account that is not existing. So it means that if I have to first of all search here to check if what I want to create is existing. If what I want to create is not existing, then I will now have to press Control N to create for that item. That is the first option to create something new in your chart of accounts. Another option is by clicking down your account where you have accounts down, where you can see this cursor. The first thing you will see there is new. So that first option, you click on the option. It performs the same function as Control N. You can see if you click on the first, you can see the first option is saying new. There is now beside it is now showing Control N. So at every point in time, is either you use Control N or you come down and click on account and select the first option to create something new. And the next thing is for you to identify the element where that particular account you want to create falls under. When you select it, you click on the continue button here. You can say I can't click on the continue button here because I have not selected any options here. So it is when I select an option that this particular continue button will be available for me to click on. So now at every point in time, take note please, at every point in time, whenever you want to go back, always press the escape button on your keyboard. So if you press the escape button, it's taking me back. At every point in time, it will take you back to your previous page. It will always take you back to your previous page. Now, we have been able to establish how to create a ledger account, a new account in our chart of accounts. Now, the next thing for us to do is for us to edit a particular account in our chart of accounts. For example, now we have furniture and equipment, and for example, in my company we don't use furniture and equipment, it is furniture and fittings. How do I go about it? How do I go about it? So the first thing to go about it is you have to be in your chart of accounts. You have to establish that you are in your chart of accounts. And I can establish here, look at it here, that this is my chart of accounts by looking at this the title chart of accounts here. So now that I've been able to establish that this page is my chart of accounts, the next thing I need to do is to identify the particular account that I want to edit. Now, what I want to edit is furniture and equipment. I want to change it from furniture and equipment to furniture and fitting. So I need to now select that particular account I want to change. So I've selected it like this. Now, after you must have selected it, the next thing for you to do is to press your right button key. When you right click, it gives you different options. Then you now click on the edit account. So I'll change it now from account furnitures and equipment to furnitures and fittings. Furnitures and fittings. And then I click on, if it has an existing balance, you can click on existing balance. Now, when you click on opening balance, it shows you this. So the opening balance is going to be the closing balance as at the information you have. For example, if I'm preparing and this is January, and then we are starting our financial period runs from January to December, and then let's assume we are in January 2022, and then the account, the value I'm going to put there is going to be the value as at the end of last year, because remember, the closing balance of the previous period automatically becomes the opening balance in your current period. So I'll put the value as at December 31st 2021, and the date I'm going to put there would be the date as at the day after 31st December. You can use 31st December 2021. You can also use 1st January 2022, as the case may be. So that is when you are entering an information of a particular account that has been existing, and you have financial records relating to that particular account. But once you are able to establish a financial record, it might be a bit difficult for you to come in and put in the opening balance if you don't know what you are doing. Like I said, if you make mistake in your your chart of account, automatically that same mistake will reflect in your financial report at the end of the day. So now, since I've changed it from furniture and equipment to furniture and fittings, I'll now click on save and close. Now you can see now it's no longer furniture and equipment, it's now furniture and fittings. Now I want to know if you have any question at this particular point, because what we'll be discussing next would be how to delete in your chart of accounts. So someone is asking, take for example, my company has 8 current accounts for various purposes, just one bank. How do I go to create such accounts on QuickBooks with just one bank? My company has 8 current accounts for various purposes. You have to create them. You can actually conglomerate everything together, but that is going to be it's going to be tedious, and there can be error. Definitely, there will definitely be error, except where you have to be doing a daily reconciliation for that particular purpose. If your company has 8 different 8 current accounts in a particular bank, you can create the 8 of them. And the reason why I would suggest, instead of combining them, conglomerating them together, is best you do it individually, so that you can really see the amount of money you have in each of these accounts. It's very good you have a different, since that for various different purposes, it means you have to do it individually. You have to open different accounts in your chart of accounts for that particular purpose. Someone is saying also, if I'm not working with a company and only want to learn and practice for the sake of job opportunities, how do I do the creation of accounts? How do I do? That's what we have explained now. Probably maybe you're talking about setting up a company or something. If you are talking about setting up a company, that would be discussed fully. That will be discussed in the course of the paid class. We will give you step by step. We will send you the software, and we will also carry out installation class so that you can be able to install it yourself and see how the installation goes. And also from there, we will now have a standard questions. We will attempt every modules. We have different modules for the purpose of this class in the paid session. So we will attempt each modules and present a real life questions touching all the modules, all the things that have been done in the class. And at the end of the day, we'll also be doing an exam, and the pass mark is going to be 50% before certificate will be awarded to such persons. So it means that you have to listen attentively. You also have to practice. When I first learned QuickBooks, I was not working. So this is an opportunity for you to get these things, so that when you are being interviewed and they ask you what accounting software do you know, you can confidently tell them that I am in the process of I have the good knowledge of QuickBooks. I know QuickBooks. I don't know if you understand. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is last year I was opportune. I've gotten different offers, multiple offers, because of especially QuickBooks. And the way this world is going, it will get to a particular point where all these are tax guys, FIRS or whatsoever, will come up and make it a mandate that all companies must use one accounting software or the other. And for every year, QuickBooks or any accounting software introduces different packages. So you need to be conversant with this particular software in order to get first-hand knowledge and update on yearly packages, on these newly yearly packages of a thing. So you need it, and it's, to be honest with you, and I can tell you for free that once you have good knowledge of this particular training, of which I believe, not just good knowledge, professional knowledge, you can see how we are taking the class step by step. So once you have this professional knowledge of this particular software, you can do any other software. So some people over the years has asked me, okay, which accounting software can I learn? Like especially most people that are just finishing the university or probably just came back from NYC and all of that. I used to tell them that it's best you start with QuickBooks. The reason for QuickBooks is because, first, it is a user-friendly accounting software. So once you are able to learn QuickBooks correctly and perfectly well, it means that it will give you edge over learning any other accounting software. And believe me, if you go for an interview and then let us assume that they are using Sage or they are using Tally or Peachtree or whatsoever accounting software they are using, because of the fact that you have good knowledge of QuickBooks, they will definitely give you that opportunity to work with them. The reason being because is that you already understand the principles of automating financial transactions to generate your financial report. So once you have that knowledge, it means that they don't need to look for a trainer for that particular purpose. So that's the reason why you need to learn this QuickBooks, and you have the opportunity to get a professional knowledge of this software. So let us give ourselves 1 minute break so that we can be back for the remaining class. So that you can use this break to go and take water and to freshen up for the remaining 1 hour class.
Okay, so let's continue the class now. So we've been able to establish we've been able to establish our chart of accounts. Secondly, we've been able to locate our chart of account by pressing Control A to locate your chart of accounts. We have also been able to establish how to create an account, how to delete a particular account in our chart of accounts. Probably you feel that, oh, this particular warehouse equipment, we don't need it, and I don't want informations in my chart of account that I don't need, then I need to delete it. So for you, like I said, the only reason and the only way this software will not give you permission to delete an account that is in your chart of accounts is where that particular ledger account has an existing transaction. Where that particular ledger account has an existing transaction. When that particular ledger account has an existing transaction, it means that the software will not permit you to do it. The only thing the software would recommend you to do is to void that account. So voiding that account is as good as what? Deleting the account. So voiding that account simply means that that particular account will not have any financial implication, material or non-material. It's not going to reflect in your financial report at the end of the day. It's not going to have any effect in your financial report at the end of the day. But where that account you want to delete does not have an existing account, an existing transaction, it means that you can go and the software will permit you to delete the account. So let us test run it now. This is warehouse equipment. Let's assume I want to delete tractors and trailers now. First of all, just like I told you, when you want to edit, you have to first of all identify the account that you want to either delete or edit. Now, the account I want to delete or edit is what I refer to as my tractors and trailers. So I'll identify tractors and trailers first, and then I right click to give me different options. And the next thing I need to do, I can now click on delete account. The software now is asking me, are you sure you want to delete this account? So to be able to use it, wants to the purpose for this question is to give you that confident level that yes, I really want to delete this account. If not, you would have not deleted it. And the reason why the software does not permit that is so that you no longer delete what you are not supposed to delete. So it's asking you a second thought question, that before you proceed by clicking OK, are you really sure you want to delete this account? Then if your answer is still yes, then you go ahead and click on what? OK. You can see that tractors and trailers has been deleted, has gone off from our chart of accounts list. So that is how to delete your account in your chart of accounts. That is how to delete an account in your chart of accounts. Now we are going to the next step, but I would like to ask find out if there is any question that you may want to ask before we go to the next point. I would like to ask if you have any question, please kindly ask, because the next point we want to do right now is to establish our capital account. So I'm giving 5 seconds for that, because I believe that the aspect where I said how to delete an account in our chart of accounts is a direct way. Since we already know how to edit, it's the same way on how to delete as well. It's just that you are clicking on different buttons. So instead of you clicking on edit, you are clicking on the delete button. So that's one. We also need to create for capital, because without capital there cannot be any business in the first place. So without capital there cannot be business in the first place. Just like, okay, I'm starting a new business now, I introduce certain amount of money, which is 10 million naira, into the business, like we used to do when we were back in year one, or maybe when we were back in secondary school. There are two accounts it's going to affect. First of all, it's going to affect your capital account, and secondly, it's also going to affect your bank account.
So it's going to first of all affect your capital account, and secondly, it's going to affect your bank account. I'm talking about the money that you use to start up your business, which is your capital. Let us assume that I brought in 10 million naira to start up a business. There are two accounts that 10 million naira is going to affect, and it must hit. The first account is your capital account, and the second account is your bank account. So now we have been able to establish two different banks, which is the Zenith Bank current account and the Zenith Bank also savings account. Now I want to create for my capital account. First of all, like I said, I need to search to confirm if I have capital existing in my chart of accounts. That should be the first step. So I'll come here in the search button, I'll type in capital. Now you can see we don't have any options relating to capital. It means that capital as a whole is not existing in the chart of accounts by default. So it means that I have to create for my capital account in my chart of accounts. So now that I'm unable to get capital in my chart of accounts, I'll click on the reset button to go back. Now I've clicked on the reset button, it has brought me back to the list of my chart of accounts. Then the next thing I need to do is to press my Control N, because I've been able to establish that capital does not exist in my chart of accounts. So the next thing for me to do is to press Control N. Now I've pressed my Control N. Now the next question is, I'm going to ask myself, this capital I want to create, where does it fall under? Does it fall under income? Does it fall under expenses? Does it fall under fixed assets? Does it fall under bank? Does it fall under loan? Does it fall under credit card? Or does it fall under equity? As we already know that capital is an equity what component. So I'll go ahead and click on equity, and then I'll click on the continue button. Then here I have, you can see the account type is equity, meaning that the account name I'm putting here is an item under what? Equity. So I'll type in capital here. Then the description, I can just put in money used to start up the business. Then where it is an existing company, like I said, you enter the opening balance. Where the company has been existing before, now you enter the opening balance value here, and then the date as at that's when the date that is, if it has been existing 31st December, if it is your management report is as at yesterday's date, yeah, this is what you are going to include as the date in these options. So but for the purpose of this class, we are strictly dealing with what? New company. So we don't have any business as regards enter opening balance. Now I'll click on save and close. Like I said, if I click on save and new, I'm coming back to this same page. But if I click on save and close, I'm entirely closing this page. But because I'm not recording any item relating to capital, so I'll just click on save and close. Now you can see we have capital here, and we also have Zenith Bank here. So now if there's any question, please kindly ask, because time is not on our side at the moment. So I'll respond to questions at the end of the class. I'll give our room for that purpose, so that we can be able to catch as much as we can for the purpose of this class. We have not started. All we are just trying to do at the moment, we are trying to set up our chart of account. Now that we have been able to have, now that we have bank, we also have capital. Now the next thing is, now we are assuming that the company Excel Academy started its business with 10 million naira. How do we go about it? At this particular junction, if this is the only thing that you will learn for the purpose of this class, until when you subscribe, or the next class, which is going to be the paid version, this is the only thing you will learn. Please learn it, because it is very easy to learn, and at the same time it is very easy not to learn. Do you understand? Once you don't get it, you cannot get it. In short, you can never get it. Do you understand? So please, let's try as much as possible. If there's a little boy or a little girl or a television or some noise somewhere that you feel is going to distract you, please try to avoid them or go to a different location entirely. Because once you miss this next step we want to do, it means that your report is rubbish, completely what rubbish. So please, the next thing we want to do is to post. How can we now post this 10 million naira in our chart of accounts? That's the next question. Now, to post this 10 million naira in your chart of accounts, first of all, you identify your bank. The money first drop into your bank because you have to debit your bank and then credit your capital, because bank has a debit balance, and since bank is increasing by that 10 million naira, that's why we are debiting it. And then since capital is also increasing by that same 10 million naira, that is the reason why we are crediting it. And take note, bank has a debit balance and capital has a credit balance. So I'll click on Zenith Bank current account first of all. So when I click on it, I'll now double click on it again to open Zenith Bank ledger account itself. So I've double clicked on it. Now we are already on Zenith Bank ledger account. Take note. Now, how do I know that this is Zenith Bank ledger account itself? How I can know that this is Zenith Bank ledger account on itself is by checking up here. You can see I have Zenith Bank current account. Like I told you, if you are confused on the page you are currently in and you want to confirm whether you are in this page or not, always come up here. It will always give you the page you are currently on. Like I said, we clicked on Zenith Bank current account. That's the reason why we are having Zenith Bank current account here. So if I click on Zenith Bank savings account, I'll have Zenith Bank savings account here. You can see. So irrespective of whatever thing that you click on, you will always get where you are by looking up at this particular point where the cursor is. So now I'm going to Zenith Bank current account because that's where I want to start with. So after you must have opened it by double clicking on your Zenith Bank current account, it takes you to this page. Now the first next step you need to do is identify the date that you want to post that transaction. You need to identify the date that you need to post that transaction. Let us assume it is today that we are posting the transaction. So I'll just put 24th year of July. Then the next thing you need to do is, now please take note, this payee you are having here, this payee that you have payee here, it is the account you have here. That meaning that since we click on Zenith Bank current account, it means that the payee is what? Zenith Bank current account. Since we clicked on Zenith Bank current account, it means that the payee here is what? Zenith Bank current account. However, had it been we have clicked on Zenith Bank savings account, the payee is going to be what? Zenith Bank savings account. So whatever payee, you want to know who is the payee, just come up here. Whatever name you have here, automatically that is what the payee is referring to as. So whatever thing you have here is your payee. Now you can see account here. This account is talking about corresponding account. If you don't know your double entry principle, you will have issues in establishing or creating your chart of accounts. If you don't know your double entry principle, you will have issues. Like I said, I brought money to start up my business. If I cannot identify the two accounts that this particular transaction is going to affect, then I'm going to be doing rubbish when creating my chart of account. For example, okay, I bought so furniture for 20 I bought a laptop for 10 million naira. Now there are two accounts that this transaction is going to affect. One is going to affect asset accounts, and two is going to affect bank accounts. So if I cannot establish these two things, it automatically means that I'm doing rubbish in my chart of accounts. It automatically means that what I'm doing rubbish in my chart of accounts. So for this purpose, like I said, you need to identify the account that is going to affect. Now we have been able to identify that it's going to affect both bank and capital, and we have been able to establish that the payee is what we have here. And now, since we have Zenith Bank here as the payee, so it automatically means that the corresponding account will be capital account. And when you type in that capital account, should be under this particular row under this payee. This particular row under this payee. This particular row under this payee, where you have this arrow, will always stand as your corresponding account at every point in time. Will always stand as your corresponding account at every point in time. So please take note, it will always stand as your corresponding account at every point in time. So now, since my corresponding account is capital, I'll type in capital there. And it being that I did not set up my capital, I won't have capital here displayed automatically. So it's because I had to create capital in my chart of accounts. That was why I was able to successfully have it among the list in those options that was presented to me, and I had to select capital for that purpose. That is the second part of it. Now, the third part of it, at every point, which is this particular place I'm about to discuss, please listen very well. You have payments, you have deposits. At every point in time, see, it took me over 2.5 years to be able to understand these two columns like this. This column here, this column where you have payments, and this column where you have deposits, is because I was unable to interpret what this particular thing. So I do try and error, and it was later I got to think about it. If I name this thing this, if I name it that, that means that should be, I think that's the purpose. That was when, ever since I got that, I presented it that way. I've never had issues posting my transaction in this place, and that's why you are here. And that's the reason why I'm telling you to please listen and pay attentive so that you can get the best from it. So at every point in time, your first column here would always be your debit side, and your second column here will always be your credit side. Your first column here will always be your debit side. Your second column here will always be your credit side. Now, the reason why I'm laying more emphasis on this is because there are some ledger in your chart of accounts that you may want to post. You may not see payment and deposits. You may see increase and decrease. You may see payment and deposit. There are two things you see: either payment and deposit or increase and decrease. Irrespective of whatever thing they are saying, payment or deposit, just put the first column to be your debit side and put the second column to be your credit side. With that, you will never have issues posting in this particular account. Now that we have been able to establish that the first column is debit and the second column is credit, then we can proceed. Now, the next question you now ask yourself, before I proceed, let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if I'm a bit fast. Please, I'll need your quick response. Let me know if you have questions at this point. I know why I'm saying let me know if you have questions, because over the years I've trained a whole lot of people on this. Most of them are big boys in the industry, and I've had issues with them as a result of this particular thing. So I don't mind using 30 minutes to explain this thing, because it is brain box towards setting up your chart of accounts. So please feel comfortable to ask questions. Feel comfortable to ask questions if you have. Someone is asking, do we still debit the receiver and credit the giver here also? I will explain. That is the next step I'm going to. I will explain that also. But I want to ensure that at this particular point, everybody understands what we have said so far. Okay, someone is saying, can I put the cost on the debit and credit column? This is the debit column. At every point in time, this first column here, but before this column here, it would always be your debit side, and this column here would always be your credit side at every point in time. So any other question? I said when you click on your identify the bank, the next thing for you to do is to adjust the date. The next thing for you to do is to find out which page you are on, which is Zenith Bank current account. Then also identify the corresponding account of that Zenith Bank for the purpose of starting up a business with 10 million naira. It means that the corresponding account for Zenith Bank is capital. That's why we type in capital. The next thing you need to know is that the first column here at every point in time is your debit side. The second column here at every point in time is your credit side. So once you have been able to establish that, then you now need to ask yourself, capital, which is your corresponding account. The moment you are putting capital here, you don't have any business with this person again. You don't have any other business with this person again. Your major focus will be your corresponding account. Your major focus will be on your corresponding account. Do you understand? Now, the next question is, okay, I'm bringing in 10 million to start up a business. That means I will debit back 10 million, right? That means my corresponding account that is capital, am I going to debit or credit? The question is, you have to credit the answer to that question is that you have to credit your capital. And I said, payment, this first column is your debit and this second column is your credit. So I'm going to record it under this second column, which is my credit. Now, the next question you need to ask yourself is, am I going to put it up here or am I going to put it up here? Is it this first one or this second one? Now, whenever you want to post the value of your transaction, it has to fall in this particular row where you have your date. See, this is my date. So if I want to know where I'm supposed to post that value, I'll come where I have my date and come and post it here. I'll come where I have my date and come and post it here. So I don't have to come down here and post it here. No, it is where I have my date, I'm going to post it here. So if Adibin Capital was a debit balance, I would have posted it here. Yeah. And now that we know that capital has a credit balance, and for the purpose of that transaction, they are starting up the business, capital is increasing, and whatever thing that will make capital to increase, it means that that particular thing that particular transaction has to be credited on that capital. So I'll come here and put in 10 million naira here. You need to confirm that this value is correct. So for us to confirm, if at all you are having, maybe you cannot see clearly, or probably you're having little issues with your eyes, you can just come down and click on any box, or you can just click on any box to confirm. So you can see now it's well spelled, 10 million naira. So it is either I press enter button to post the transaction, or I click on record to post the transaction. So it means we have two options to posting the transaction. It's either after I must have put in the value of what I want to post and click and press the enter button, or I come here to record. But for the purpose of efficiency, I'll press the enter button. Once I press the enter button, I'll go back by pressing my escape button. Like I told you, at every point in time, whenever you want to go back to a previous page, always press your escape button. So I'll press my escape button to go back. I've also credited bank with what? 10 million naira. Now that is in our current account. Now let's go and post for our savings account. Let's assume that we started 10 million naira. It is a total of 15 million naira that we started the business. We deposited 10 million naira in our current account, and we deposited the remaining 5 million naira in our savings account. So we need to now post it. So I'll identify the account I want to post. I'll identify which is this. I'll double click on it to open the ledger account itself. Now, like I said, the first thing you need to do is to adjust the date to the date you want to post the transaction. Now, establish where you are on. Now, this is Zenith Bank savings account. Yes, it is savings account. I want to post the remaining 5 million naira. So I'm confident that this page I am currently in is savings account. Now, the next thing I need to do is that I must put it at the back of my mind that this account that I have here under PE would always be my corresponding account. It would always be my corresponding account. I bought assets. Yeah, that means my corresponding, now that I clicked on bank, my corresponding account will be what? That particular, the name of that asset, maybe furniture and things or land and building. But because I'm starting up a business and the corresponding account for bank is capital and the corresponding account for capital is bank, so that's why I'm going to put in capital, because it is the corresponding account for bank. So I'll type in capital here. Select capital. Like I said, this is your debit column and this is your credit column, and we know that capital has a credit balance, and for capital to have a credit balance, it means that that particular value that we are posting on that capital is increasing capital by that amount. So like I said, whenever we are posting, we have to post in the same row with the date. See our date, I have to confirm to post in the same row with the date. I'll put in 5 million naira. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I click on my enter button. Then I press my escape button. Now you can see that our capital is the combination of our 10 million naira, which is in our current assets, current account, and 5 million naira that is in our savings account. So the summation of these two is what we have in our capital account. Please, if you have any question at this point, let me know. Somebody said he wouldn't mind if we can start the posting again. Okay, I'm going to start over again. So I'm going to start over again. How do I start over again? I'm going to delete. I will also teach you how to edit postings. But take note, it's not all postings that you can edit. So I'm going to teach you how to edit postings in your chat over account now, so that you can see how it works. Now I want to start over again. I want to clear the 10 million I have here. I want to clear the 10 million I have here. I want to also clear the 5 million I have here, so that this one will also clear. How do I go about it now? I'll first of all identify the accounts I need to clear the value. I'll double click on it. Once I double click on it, I'll now, this is another, this data is a different transaction entirely. I need to identify the particular transaction I need to edit. I have to identify the particular transaction, because if you are working, you can have multiple transactions here. So I need to identify the particular transaction I want to identify I want to edit is this particular one. So I'll select it here. So you can see I've selected it. So this is what I want to edit now. So there are two ways. It is either I come here and I put 0.00 and enter. They're asking you have changed this transaction. Do you want to record your changes? Then if you are sure that you want to edit it, clear it, so you click on yes. But if you are not sure, you click on no. But for the purpose of this class, I'm sure, because I want to start all over again so that I can explain again. I'll click on what? I'll click on yes. So now that I've clicked on yes, I'll press the escape button. Okay, there's so I double click on it, I identify it. I can also come here and click on edit transaction, change the amount, save and close. And yes, you can see now that the capital, the one in the account has changed, is now 00. I've edited it. Now I want to also clear the figure in our savings account as well. I'll identify it, double click on it, identify the transaction, which is the first one, click on edit transaction, then come to transaction amount and type in 0.00, and then click on save and close. Yes, you can see now I've gotten back to the beginning. I've not posted any transaction. So I want to do it again. Please pay attention, because we are supposed to have gone past this where we are at the moment, and we are supposed to have gone past where we are now. But I'm taking my time because this is very critical. Even if you have to end this class here, I don't mind, and continue in the paid class, I don't mind, but because I want to ensure that you guys are getting this thing very well. So now I want to post again. Like I said, you first of all identify the account you want to post. Now I'm starting up a business with 15 million naira, and I want to post my transaction. I want to deposit that 15 million naira into two accounts: 10 million naira into my current account and 5 million naira into my savings account. So I'm going to be starting with my current account. I'll identify my Zenith Bank current account. I'll double click on it, come to the transaction. I can change the date. I'll adjust the date to the particular day of that transaction. So let's assume it is today, being 24th. Like I said, then after you must have established this, the next thing you need to ask yourself is that you need to establish which account you are currently on. So which is Zenith Bank, and which means that our corresponding account will be capital. So I can type in capital under PE and select capital. Then once I've been able to achieve that, the next thing I need to ask myself is, capital, does it have a debit or a credit balance? Now, for you to ask yourself that question, it means you need to understand the nature of the transaction. I'm bringing in money to start up a business, meaning that bank and capital are both increasing. So if bank and capital are increasing, that means we are going to work with their balances. So if bank is increasing, it automatically means that we need to debit bank. And if capital is increasing at every point in time, it means we are going to what? Credit that capital account. So which alternatively means that whatever thing that will make our bank to reduce, we will credit bank, and whatever thing that will make our capital to reduce, we will debit capital. So I don't know, I don't want to go into that area because I don't want you to I don't want to confuse you, but you need to understand the nature of the transaction before you can know whether you are debiting or crediting. Because the young man is bringing in 15 million to start up the business, so it is believed that both capital and bank are increasing at the same time. And when they are increasing, that means they have inverse posting, meaning that you are debiting the bank and you are crediting what? Capital. And I've also said that the first column is your debit side and the second column is what? Your credit side. And I said capital because it's increasing, you are going to put it in the credit what? Column. So and when you are putting it in the credit column, I told you that it has to be in the same row with the date. This is the date. It has to be in the same row with the date. So I'll type in 10 million naira here and click that. I said you can either click on enter button or you come down here and record for posting that transaction. It's either you click on the enter button or you come down here and click on what? Record. So for efficiency purpose, I told you to always click on the enter button. So we click on yes. Now you can see now that our Zenith Bank has increased by 10 million and our capital has also increased by 10 million. Now the next thing for us to do is to post that of what the remaining 5 million into our savings account. So I'll identify the savings account first of all and double click on it. Then, like I said, you need to adjust the date first of all to the date. Let's assume it's 24th. The second step is identify that this is Zenith Bank so that you can easily know the corresponding account. So if this is Zenith Bank, it means that your corresponding account has to be capital because we're using it to start up a business. So the next thing I said is this is your debit side and this is your credit side. So and capital has a credit balance because it is increasing by that 5 million. So I'll come here and post 5 million. So I click on my enter button, then press the escape button, and you can see you have 10 plus 5 equals to what? 15 million naira. This simply means that we can what? Go about our activities. So if that is clear, I think I've explained myself 2 times and I believe that we can proceed further because time is not on our side. So now the next step we need to do is that we need to initiate our sales tracker. The reason why we are initiating our sales tracker, sales tax tracker. The reason why we are initiating our sales tax tracker is because of the fact that we want to be able to have an automated sales tax system for every invoice we give to our clients. For every invoice we send to our clients, we want the software to automatically compute for every transaction of invoices that we issue to our customer. Like I earlier said before, it is a flexible software in the sense that it may be that you have certain clients that you that is exclusive. That is, when I mean exclusive, I'm talking about that you don't charge tax to. You can also disable it for that particular client. Sure, you understand, it is flexible. But if at all you don't have a client that you don't charge a particular sales tax to them, it applies to all your customers. It applies to all your clients. So how do we initiate our sales tracker? To do that, the first step is to locate your edit button, your edit in your toolbar. When I'm talking about, from time to time, you will see me referring to toolbar. Please, at every point in time, in order to grab it very fast, whenever I say toolbar, I'm referring to these particular icons here. I'm referring to this particular what icons. So when I say toolbar, I'm referring to this particular icon. So when you want to initiate your tracker, the first step is to locate your edit toolbar. So this is edit and this is our toolbar. I'll click on edit, then I'll scroll down to the last option. I'll see preferences. So I'll click on preferences. Now, I clicked on preferences. The next thing I need to do is to select sales tax. So this is my sales tax. I'll select it. So this is the page. First step, look for your look for edit in your toolbar. Click on preferences. After which it brings you to this page. Select your sales tax among this option, which is this. And then the next step is now for you to what? Click on company preferences. Click on company preferences. Now, the first option is telling you, do you charge sales tax? The question is, do you charge? If it is yes, you click on yes. If it is no, you leave it like that because it's already on no. By default, it's on no. So if I thought you charge sales tax for every transaction that you send to your client, you click on yes. When you click on yes, the next step for you to do is to click on add sales tax item. Is to click on what? Add sales tax item. So once I click on add sales tax item, we have different options. Now, you have to now, the next step is now for you to use to now click on sales tax item again. Because whatever thing you want to do is related to sales tax, strictly sales tax. So I'll select sales tax. Now, what is the sales tax name? So you can have multiple sales tax. You have that of VAT, you have that of consumption tax. So you can have multiple sales tax items. So what you need to do in that regard is to be doing them one by each. However, it may be that your nature of business is that you have to pay both sales tax and both consumption tax and VAT at the same time. If that is the case, we would explain that further. Now, I'll explain that now when we get there now. So let me do it individually now. VAT and that of what? And that of consumption tax. So let me start with VAT. Where you have sales tax name, I'll type in VAT. Then I'll come to the tax rates and put 7.5. Then where I have the tax agency, I'll put in FIRS. And then I'll click on OK. The first thing I did was I selected sales tax item as the type. I typed in VAT, which is value added tax. You can write it in full, but you can at the same time abbreviate it. Then the tax rate, you should know that is 7.5%. Then the agency where this money is expected to go to at the end of the day is FIRS, because you are collecting these taxes on behalf of what? The government. So I'll now click on OK. Then now they're telling me quick add. See, it's because FIRS, we are supposed to register FIRS as a vendor. So instead of us going through the vendor toolbar, we can just quickly add it for the purpose of what we are doing, and the software will permit us to quickly add it without further information. And then we click on OK. Then that is for VAT. Now let us assume we have another type of tax, which is what we refer to as what? Consumption tax. So I'll go there again and add sales tax item. I'm still on the sales tax forum. Sales tax company preference, still on. Do you charge? Yes. So I'll just click on add sales tax item, click on sales tax, and come here and write TT, meaning consumption tax. And then where I have the tax rates, you don't need to worry about the description because automatically it is automated. So I can now put in there 5%. Then the vendor, I can put in LIRS. I can put in LIRS there because it goes to LIRS, right? And then I click on OK, because LIRS is not a list, is not in our vendor lists. So I have to do quick add for that purpose, and then I click on OK. Now, there are situations whereby you are issuing a client. So if your nature of business is both service and maybe goods kind of business at the same time, so it means maybe consumption goods, you have to pay for VAT, you have to also pay for consumption tax at the same time, and also In order for you to, instead of you doing consult, you cannot charge two tax at the same time, like maybe different. You have to join the taxes together and charge them at once. So for us to do that, we click on add sales tax item. You click on sales tax, then we can now put VAT and consumption tax. Then I join the two tax together and put 12.5%, and then I can just put the tax agency. I can just write, I can either put, let me just put LIRS, VAT, VAT, and LIRS. So now, if you are doing this, it simply means that you need to have a schedule so that you can be able to establish the value that is going to LIRS, the value that is going to what? VAT. Do you understand? So because by doing this, it means that it will be giving you the total in whatever you are going to see in your financial statement of financial position is going to be the total of both the amount that is due to LIRS and the amount that is due to FIRS. It's not going to differentiate it for you because you have joined the rate together, which is 12.5%. So I'll click on what? Okay, yeah. I'll click on quick add because it's not an option in our vendor list. And then I click on okay. And finally, I click on what? Okay. Then I can click on okay all through to ensure that everything has been applied to. So by pressing all other icons there, it means that we are good to go. We have been able to establish our sales tracker. It also means that whatever invoices we are issuing to our clients, it's going to comprises of the amount itself, the actual amount itself plus our VAT. Now, the next step for us to go is for us to initiate our inventory tracker. So people usually ask, why are we initiating inventory tracker? Why are we initiating? What is the purpose for each inventory tracker? The purpose for inventory tracker is to enable you to ensure that you don't sell what you don't have. Because if you don't track your inventory, when you now want to issue an invoice to your customer, that particular item you think you have in your store eventually may not be in your store. And the financial implication there is that your revenue will be overstated by that particular item that is not in your inventory, in your store. Two, you'll be having a negative inventory in your statement of financial position because you don't have it in your store. And thirdly, you would also be, your expenses will be, your liability will be overstated simply because that inventory that you have in your warehouse or in your store has an associated tax liability to it. So it means that your tax liability would increase, would be overstated, and which also means that your profits would also be overstated. Now, the money that you are supposed to use to set aside for inventory purpose, that you are supposed to have classified as a closing, as what closing inventory or something that is, if not sold, you are now selling it and you don't have it. So your revenue will be overstated. You'll be having a negative balance of a negative amount in your inventory, and at the same time, your liability will increase and your profit will also be what? Overstated. So that's the essence for the inventory tracker. Immediately, anytime you want to sell more than what you have in your store, the tracker would automatically pop up to tell you and advise you that this is what you have on hand and this is what you have available to sell. This is what you have on hand and this is what you have that is available to sell. Do you understand? So that's the essence of the inventory tracker. Now, to initiate that inventory tracker, you'll go to edit in your toolbar, you click on preference, and then you select items and inventory, and then you select company preferences, after which you tick on the first option, which will have inventory and purchase orders are active. You click on it, and then the next thing you need to do is to enable the unit of measure. You might be using single unit of measure, you might be using multiple unit of measure. Where it is single unit of measure, you click on single unit of measure and you click on finish. Then you need to enable enhance inventory receiving. This is the major thing here. So this is the major thing here. So when you click on enable, you click on the continue button and then you click on OK. So at this particular point, we have been able to initiate our inventory tracker. Our sales tracker is, we'll go to edit, we'll click on preferences, and we'll select sales tax item, sales tax, then we'll click on company preference, then we'll click on yes, and we'll add your sales tax item and the rest. While for that of tracker, inventory tracker, you click on that same edit in your toolbar, you click on preferences, you click on item and inventory, you click on company preference, you click on this first thing, which is inventory and purchase order active. Then you come here to enable your unit of measure. You also come here to enable your enhanced inventory receiving item, and finally click on OK. That's, we have been able to establish that. So at this particular point, I want to know if you have any questions. So we can't we'll have to continue this class in a paid version, where we are doing the paid version next month. The management of Excel Academy would communicate to you when the paid version would would commence, and immediately after now we'll start accepting registration for the paid class. We are going to, in the paid class, we are going to be giving you the software, and the software is going to be a software. That software that I'm using is what you are going to be using for the purpose of the paid class, and there's different benefits about the software. First of all, it's going to be coming with free installation. So it means that once you make your payment for the paid class, will be carrying out free installation to you, and also we'll be giving you the software free of charge. That's second. And thirdly, this software would also be a software where you can use you can use it to solve multiple questions. You can use it to solve multiple questions, multiple practices. So it means that if you are done with a particular question, you can start up again, another company again, as much as you want to, and you can do another thing there is that you cannot even use it for your personal business, because it is a single user accounting software. This is a single user. You can't use it for more than one person. So single user, meaning that you can integrate your business activity in that software. And the last but not the least of this particular software is that it is a subscription free software. It is a subscription free software. So you are getting this software, and then also you'll be given a standard material, a standard handout. You'll also be given the recorded version of the class. You know, there is a whole lot of benefits that's going to take place in the paid class. So in the paid class, it's not just going to be my screen that you'll be seeing. You have your own software. As you are seeing it, you're not just going to be seeing it alone. You'll be seeing it, and at the same time, you'll also be practicing it and see how it works. Do you understand? So at every module, there will be questions, practical questions, and at the end of the module, like I said, we'll have a standard question that would definitely touch all the modules in order to see your performance and your ability to what you have learned so far. Before you are able to meet the cutoff, 50%, then you are getting your certificate. But if you don't meet up to 50%, it means that you may have to redo it again. So that is it, because whatever thing we are doing is for the purpose of, it's for our interest and also for your interest. In our interest, in the sense that, so that when you go out there and say, oh, you have learned QuickBooks, let it be that, yes, we can actually attest to the fact that you have learned QuickBooks. So it will not be a disadvantage to our image. So that means we may have to redo it again before we can give you that certificate. So I will see you guys in the paid class, and I hope you really enjoyed the class. I really hope you enjoyed the class. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to that contact in the flyers that have been sent to you that you will use to register. It will give you answers to other things that you may need to ask, even as regards this video. As regards this video, we have a video, recorded video for this particular class. So see you guys in the paid class, and I hope you enjoyed it. I want somebody to tell me on that chat that I actually enjoyed this class so that I can know that I've communicated well. Try to boost my morale in the paid class. I see someone saying thank you for this amazing session. My question is, I did not see you putting narrations when you posted to bank and capital account. Okay, we'll discuss that along the line in the paid class. Thank you very much for the training. Thank you also. Yeah, someone said I got value. Please, can we get the recording? Yes, you will get the recording. Just chat up that number that you registered with. Kudos, very insightful. Thank you. Thank you also. I really enjoyed the class. I really appreciate your effort. And thank you also for your compliments. I'm really grateful. At least that one has boosted my morale. So we'll talk more in details during the paid class. We hope to see you guys there. Thank you and have a good night.